Hi folks, Chef Dave Machado here, the lawyer chef. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, as always, we're cooking good food fast with you. What are we making today? We're making a vegan dish that I like to call earthy lentils and rice. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be calling it delicious. This is not a dish just for vegans. This is actually a very tasty dish. Who said vegan food had to be boring? I certainly didn't, because I'm going to show you how to make a really delicious vegan dish. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go through our spices, what we're going to put into the dish. So I'm going to grab one bowl and I'm going to put them all together, but we'll go through them so you know what's in there. But don't worry if you miss it. I'm going to put the recipe in the description box below so that you've got it and you don't miss a beat and you don't miss the spice. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper. Then we're going to follow it with 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. Then we're going to follow that with 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1.5 teaspoons of coriander, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice. Now we've got all of our spices and we're going to put them into the dish all together. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of sesame oil. It's going to be delicious. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of a balsamic glaze that I made earlier, and I'll talk to you later about how to make it. We're going to use one full red onion, about medium size. If it's a large one, just use half or 3/4. We're going to use half of a sweet onion. What do you do with the other half? Well, you could ignore me and you could do the whole recipe, or excuse me, the whole onion for that for this recipe. Will you get charged with a crime? No, I don't think so, because it'll still be delicious. But if you follow me and you only use half of that sweet onion, what do you do with the other half? Well, I'll tell you what you do with the other half. You put it in a baggie. You dice it up, you put it in a baggie, you put it in your fridge. Why would you do that? Because in a couple days, when your family eats everything and they ask you for more, well, you've already got that half an onion sliced up. And I promise you they're going to do it because this is a delicious dish. I've got 10 basil leaves. They're a little bit smaller, that's why I'm using 10. I picked them out of my garden. So if you get bigger leaves, then just use about 6 or 7. And if you don't have fresh basil in your garden like I do, and you want to use the dry basil, you can do that. If you're going to do that, you're going to probably want to use about maybe 1.5 tablespoons. We're going to use, yes, 38. I counted 38 cherry tomatoes. They are basically one of those 10-ounce containers that you find at the grocery store. We're going to use 1 orange pepper. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of garlic and 1 tablespoon of ginger. All right, so one thing we're going to do is I'm going to get my pan started, get that heating up, so that we can start getting the cooking process going. Here we go. All right, now that we got that going, while that is happening, while that's warming up, what are we going to do? I didn't talk to you about carrots, because that's not the main dish. This is a side. We're going to pair this dish with some beautiful rainbow carrots. We're going to use the purple ones, we're going to use the orange ones, and we're going to use the yellow ones. They're going to be delicious. We're going to roast them up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil, and then we're going to use some of that same balsamic glaze that we're going to use in the lentils and rice, and we're going to use probably about 1 tablespoon of that. Then we're going to add a little bit of garlic powder, probably about 1 teaspoon. We're going to add about 1 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of fresh cracked pepper. If you don't have fresh cracked pepper, you can use the stuff that already comes ground from the store. That's all right. But we're going to use half a teaspoon. All right. So now that we've got that going, I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Why avocado oil? Because I like my pans really hot. So my pan gets really hot and it's got a higher smoke point. So that's why we're using avocado oil. Let's do that and go ahead and stick in the orange peppers and the sweet onion. So now we'll grab another spoon while that's working, and I'm going to mix up these beautiful and delicious carrots. So we're going to want to make sure that these carrots are completely coated because they're going to be delicious. And I've got the oven preheated at 375. And we're going to put these in, and they're going to be in for about 20 to 25 minutes. They're going to be ready when the rice is ready, when the rice and the lentils are ready. All right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my oven-safe dish. I'm going to put these out so it's nice one layer. And I'm going to stick it in the oven. And then we'll mix them up and we'll rotate them in about 10 or 15 minutes. Let's go do that. While we're here, we'll mix up our orange peppers and our sweet onions. Turn the heat down a little bit. And now, let's put in the sweet onions. So mix them around really well. All right, so let's talk lentils for a minute. I'm using the red lentils. Why do they call them red lentils? They're orange. See? They're orange. I don't understand why they call them red lentils, but they call them red lentils. I'm using the red ones. If you don't like the red ones or orange ones, you can use the green ones or you can use the brown ones. It doesn't matter. I'm using 1 cup of lentils. This requires a little bit of planning because they need to soak for at least 8 hours. 10, 12, 14 hours, doesn't matter. At least 8 hours. They're going to double in size approximately. And we're using 1 1/3 cups of rice. That's right, 1 1/3. Why not 1 1/2? Why not 1? Because it's 1 1/3. That's what I'm telling you. You can use a little bit more, you can use a little bit less. Just adjust accordingly when it comes to the liquid. But I find that 1 1/3 goes really nicely with 1 cup of lentils. So, and just so you know, 1 cup is about 1/3 of one of these bags of lentils, which is 1 pound. So it's about 1/3 of a pound. It's 1 cup, and we'll go from there. So mine have been soaking for probably about 14 or 15 hours, and that's okay. I like to do it that way because I find that it cooks a little bit quicker, and they're going to be delicious. So now that the onions are going, we're going to mix them around just a little bit more, and then we're going to stick in our garlic and ginger. So let's go over and mix that up a little bit. Come on. So we've mixed that up. In a minute we're going to do our garlic and ginger mix. Then we're going to get the rice. We're going to put the rice in first. We're going to make sure the rice is coated really nicely with some of that avocado oil. And as we're mixing it around and mixing the spices in, it's going to start to toast the rice. And it's going to be delicious. So we're going to do that. Once we get everything in the pot, or in the pan, once we get everything in the pan, we're going to put in 1 3/4 cups of veggie stock. It's 1 3/4 cups of veggie stock. We'll bring it up to a boil, and then we'll bring it down to simmer. And we'll put the lid on it, and we'll forget about it for 15 minutes. We'll set a timer. I'm going to ask her to help me. Once we set that timer, then we're going to check them out. Actually, we're going to leave them alone. We're going to let them sit, and we're going to let them rest. They've had a hard day. We're going to let them rest. But we'll let them rest for about 10 minutes. So it's a total about 25 minutes of cook time. But make sure that you turn them off after 15 minutes. Because if you don't, the bottom is going to be burnt, and they're not going to be tasty. But I promise you, if you do what I'm telling you, they're going to be delicious. All right. I think it's time that we put in our garlic and ginger. I don't need my measuring spoon anymore. Let's put it in. All right, let's mix that up and make sure that the garlic and ginger is very evenly mixed in with everything. All right, now that everything is mixed in, let's put in the rice, shall we? Come on. I've already pre-rinsed the rice. You're going to want to rinse it to get that extra starch out of it. You don't want it to be all clumpy and gooey. This is going to be delicious, I promise. Come on. Okay, so here's what we want to look for. See how some of that rice is just pure white? Well, we want it to be like a little yellowy. And how is it going to get a little yellowy? By making sure that it's completely coated. Okay, and as we mix it up, we're going to find that the rice is going to start toasting, and it's really going to help with the flavor profile quite a bit. And I'll tell you what, if you could smell what I smell, you'd be as excited as I am to eat it. All right. I'm going to let that toast for just about a minute or two. And while that's going on, let's cut up some of these tomatoes because we didn't cut them up before. So, I'm just going to slice them in half. That's all I want. Slice them in half. And you're not going to watch me cut all these tomatoes because why do you want to watch me cut all these tomatoes? You don't. I know you don't. So for those of you who are new to my channel, do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, and you'll get notified every time I put up a new episode. So my thing is, I want to help you learn how to cook good food fast. I'm a busy guy. I know you are too. And this is one way we can do it. We can do it together quickly. Your family's going to love it. Your significant other is going to love it. And at the end of the day, they're going to ask you for more. Why? Because you're making them some delicious food. Now, with these tomatoes, these are going to be the last things that go in. And they're going to be the last things that go in because they're going to start to wilt. We don't want them to wilt. I mean, they're going to wilt anyway while they cook. But I want to put them in last because that's what I do. I put them in last. Let's go in. We'll mix the rice, and then we'll start adding the seasonings, the salt, the pepper, the herbs, the spices, the deliciousness. Let's put them in. Come on. Okay. I can smell it. It's so good. So, let's put in, we're going to put in about half of this first. You could put it all in, but I like to do half and half and just kind of make sure that everything is incorporated and everything is coated and covered with all that deliciousness that we're going to import into this rice. It's going to be amazing. Again, I have the heat on low. See that beautiful orange color that this is starting to get? That's what you want. Alright, now we'll put in the rest of the spices. Alright. And let's mix that up nicely. Yeah, that looks amazing. Making a little bit of a mess here. That's okay. As long as you clean it up, it's alright if you make a mess. Alright, now that everything is nicely coated, we're going to start with the sesame oil, and then we'll do the balsamic glaze. So we got the sesame oil, we got the balsamic glaze. Come on, let's put it in. First we'll start with the 3 tablespoons of balsamic, or excuse me, 3 tablespoons of sesame oil. And this is going to help prevent your rice from burning and sticking on the very bottom. So make sure that everything is nicely coated, and oh boy, that beautiful earthy smell of the sesame seed oil is amazing. I wish you could smell it. I know I keep saying that. I'll tell you what, does anybody out there know how to make smell-o-vision? Because if you do, give me a call, because I want to be able to do that so that you guys can smell everything that I'm cooking here, because it is amazing. This is going to be so tasty, folks. Alright, now that I've got all of that sesame oil incorporated into the rice, let's go get the lentils. They've been waiting outside the club, waiting to get into the party. They're tired of waiting and standing around. Let's have them join the party. Come on. Alright. Here we go. Alright, guys. In the club you go. In with the cool kids. And now, we mix that in, and then we're going to put the balsamic in. So we get the lentils all in there, nicely coated. Alright. We're going to get this wonderful and delicious balsamic glaze. Look at that beautiful, intense concentration of flavor. You saw how thick that was? And then we want to make sure that everything is coated again with the balsamic reduction glaze. Balsamic reduction glaze, full of delicious flavor. I tell you what, this flavor packs a punch. Oh, I'm making another little bit of a mess over here. Alright folks, I lied. We're going to put the tomatoes in, we're going to put the basil in last. Let's go ahead and put the tomatoes in. Save a few for the very end so that when we plate, we can use some of them as a garnish to make it look nice and delicious looking for our eyes. Because we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth. Let's make it delicious for our eyes. Let's go put it in. Come on. This is going to be so beautiful. It's going to have all kinds of color. Look at all that beautiful red and orange and the purple from the red onion. If this doesn't get you excited about food, I don't know what does. Now I'm going to add 1 3/4 cups of veggie stock. We're not using water, we're using veggie stock for this. And then of course we'll mix that up and make sure that everything is coated. And then we're going to mix it one more time when we put in the basil. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get our basil, 10 leaves, right? So I'm going to get the biggest leaf that I can find in here, and I'm going to put all of the other basil kind of stacked on top of it. Yeah, this one's a little bit bigger. Okay. And then we're going to chiffonade the basil. And what's that? Well, that's creating really tiny little thin slices of the basil. And once we get them all stacked, we can just kind of lay it. Some people like to fold it. I think these are a little too small to be folding, and that's okay. You just stack it on the cutting board like that. And then we just kind of rock the knife and let it make some nice, thin slices of basil. Now, again, that's called a chiffonade. Now, for those of you who watched, or for those of you who haven't watched my shrimp scampi episode, you'll know that, again, this is a chiffonade, and I just like saying chiffonade. So, let's get this lovely basil that we chiffonade, and we'll put it in with the lentils and rice. All right, let's go. So there we have our beautiful fresh basil that I just cut from the garden. Alright, so what are we going to do now? We're going to cover it, and we're going to forget about it for 15 minutes. Go off and, throw some laundry in, vacuum one of the bedrooms, something. But you got 15 minutes to do it. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for help. Alexa, 15 minutes, please.
15 minutes, starting now.
She's going to let me know when it's time to turn off the lentils and rice. Let's talk money, folks. So, because when this was done, we're going to plate and be done. You don't want to listen to me anymore. So, here we go. I spent just under $24. I think it was something like $23.92 or something like that. Let's just call it 24 bucks. Okay, so I can get about 6, maybe 7 servings out of this dish with the 24 bucks that were spent. That's the spices, that's, counting for what we spend on the spices, the rice, the lentils. This is not a very expensive dish, right? So if we look at 6 servings out of 24 bucks, or just under 24 bucks, that makes it 4 bucks a plate. So, where are you going to get 4 bucks for a beautiful, delicious plate? I'll tell you what, you're not going to find it, because you're not going to get good food like this made at home with love for 4 bucks. You're not going to find it, I promise. But you can make it at home. I just showed you how to make it, and we're going to plate it when we come back. But let's talk a couple variations, if you will. if you want to make it a spicy dish, if you want to make this a spicy lentils and rice dish, what do? You can add some cayenne pepper. Add about 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Don't add too much. You can always add more later, but you can't take it away. So about 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. What else? If you want to make it a little bit sweet, what do? Well, add about a handful of raisins. I like the Golden Delicious raisins. That's my preference. You might not like Golden Delicious raisins. You might like the black ones. Well, then use the black ones. It's okay. Use whatever you want, whatever you like, whatever your family's going to like, whatever your family's going to eat. So, you can make it sweet by adding raisins. You can make it spicy by adding cayenne pepper. If you want to make it sweet and spicy, add them both. I don't care. Do whatever you like, whatever you're going to enjoy. So, I think those are the variations that we're talking about. Let's let that cook. We got about 12 minutes and 30 seconds to go. We're going to turn it off at the 15-minute mark, and then we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes. Once it sits for about 10 minutes, the carrots are going to be done roasting. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn them now. You don't have to watch me do it, but I'm going to turn them now, and then they're going to be ready when the lentils and rice are ready. This is going to be an absolutely delicious dish. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be colorful, and you're going to love it, I promise. Okay, folks, so the timer went off at 15 minutes. She told me. I turned it off because I follow instructions, as should you. Then I turned it off, let it sit for 10 minutes. Okay, so we've been gone for 25 minutes. The carrots are done. They're going to be delicious. And I did just a couple of things, okay? So I cut up some scallions that we're going to use as a garnish. And I used my peeler to make a little bit of a garnish, of carrots. Now, I just wanted to show you, we just do the tip, right? Just kind of hit the tip a little bit, and that will give you the perfect piece that we're going to use for the garnish. And it's going to give every bite just that little bit of crunch, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. All right, so let me grab, let's go over here. We'll mix everything up. We'll get the carrots, and we'll plate a beautiful, delicious dish. Let's do it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And then we get that caramelization of the balsamic reduction on the bottom. Okay, look at that. Oh yeah, folks, this is going to be so tasty. Look at the beautiful colors. This is amazing. All right. Look at that. Okay. All right, let's do this. All right, so I'm going to bring this over here. We're going to add another tablespoon of sesame oil. And it's going to give some additional beautiful flavor to the dish. All right. Now we'll mix that in nicely. I can't wait to eat this, folks. This is going to be delicious. All right, so for those of you who haven't seen my other dishes that have rice in them, I like to put my rice in a little mound in the middle of the plate, as it makes for a really nice presentation. And those of you who have watched them before know that I like to do that. Now, this is a small bowl, probably what you would serve a cup of soup in. It's the perfect serving for the rice, especially if that's going to be your main dish. So this lentils and rice, it's going to be delicious. You can see the beautiful color. I'm going to turn this plate up a little bit, and I'm going to bring this down. Okay, I'm going to kind of move it around until I kind of have it where I want it. probably right there in the middle. I am going to grab a fresh towel, and I'm going to clean this plate around here because I want it to be beautiful, because your family's going to love it, you're going to love it, and might as well, if it's going to be as delicious as it looks, it might as well look amazing. All right, so now look at that. That's going to be absolutely beautiful. Look at the colors. We got the orange, the yellow, the red. Again, can somebody tell me why they call them red lentils? Because they look orange to me. All right, so let's go get the carrots out of the oven. Folks, these are looking beautiful and delicious. Okay, so grab your tongs because you don't want to burn yourself. And I am just going to get a little creative here. And we're going to get our carrots and we'll kind of like put them around the dish here like so. I like that. Those are the purple carrots. And now let's do some orange carrots. And then we'll do some yellow. And we'll do some yellow. And we'll do an orange over here. And I don't know, folks, I've not plated this before like this, but I kind of like how it's coming out. You can do it different. It's okay. Nobody's going to get mad at you if you do it different. You know why? Because it's going to taste delicious, and no matter how you do it, it's going to look amazing. Look at that. Yeah, I'm really grooving to it. I'm really grooving to it. Here's another yellow, and we'll put an orange, and we'll do another yellow over here, and we'll do another orange. How is that? Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. Look at that, it's a little sun. Love it. All right, so now that we have our carrots in place, let's put a little bit of lemon zest. So we grab a lemon and we grab our microplane, okay? And we're just going to put a little bit of lemon zest on top of the rice. And this is going to give it some really delicious flavor, and you're going to love it. Okay? Look at that. Okay, so now, once we've done that, I'm going to grab the cutting board, and I'm going to grab that piece of lemon that I just zested, okay? And then I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to let it rain some lemon on top of this beautiful, delicious dish. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait, folks. I'm so excited. I can't wait to eat it. All right. Now, before we do that, what do we got? Remember, we had these beautiful cherry tomatoes. Let's just kind of like set them this way. Okay, they're going to give us, you know, a pop of flavor as well. And you know what? Let's just kind of like put them around the plate a little bit. Why not? You do whatever you want. It's your dish. I like it. All right, that's good enough for me. Now, we get a little bit of orange in the plate for the eyes. This is going to be our crunch. And we're going to put that. We're just going to kind of let it rain some carrots. We're going to just kind of put a little bit more color on the plate. I like it. All right. Put some right there. Okay. And then finally, we got some scallions. And that's going to put a little bit of green on the plate. And we're going to let it rain some scallions. And we're going to put these like all over. And this is going to be absolutely delicious. All right. And the last bit of flavor we're going to get from this beautiful and delicious reduction that I've made, okay, from the balsamic vinegar. And I'm just going to have fun with it. You should have fun with it too. You can go in a circular pattern, which I think would be pretty cool. But I'm just going to zigzag it back and forth because that's easy, and I think you're going to love it anyway. So I'm going to do that now. Here we go. And we'll do one more this way. I kind of like it. And we can look at the plate this way. I like it at an angle like that. I think it looks amazing. And I can't wait to try it. All right, let's try it, folks. Wow, this looks amazing. I'm going to get a good bit of rice. And I got some scallions. I got some tomato. Oh, I lost the tomato, but I'm going to grab it now. Mmm. So good. Wow. This is so good it ought to be against the law. But don't take my sworn testimony for it. You be the jury. I'll tell you what, folks. You get that earthiness from that sesame oil. You get a little bit of sweetness from the balsamic reduction. The carrots are perfect. And you get a little bit of that crunch from the carrots. It's amazing. You're going to love it. Do me a favor, folks. If you like this dish, again, this isn't just for vegans. It's for everybody because it's delicious. Do me a favor. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, and that little bell notification. You're going to get notified every time I put up a new episode. I'm Chef Dave Machado. Thanks for coming into my kitchen, and thanks for letting me into your home. Dave Machado, the lawyer chef, cooking good food fast with you.